Happening now, New York's governor speaking out following nursing home death cover-up allegations. Plus, over 1 million people statewide are vaccinated against COVID-19, where our county stands.
Well, the most widespread of the snow has ended out there for today, but we're watching another chance for snow later in the week. We'll tell you about it next. The news at noon starts right now.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
And thanks for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo speaking publicly about his accusations his administration has withheld the number of COVID-19 nursing home deaths. His comments come as state lawmakers consider stripping his emergency powers. As Athena Jones reports, this all days after his top aide admitted their office withheld data for months about COVID-19 deaths of nursing home residents.
New York Governor Andrew Cuomo finally speaking out. Cuomo acknowledging on Monday that the data was not provided quickly enough.
In retrospect, should we have given more priority to fulfilling information requests? In my opinion, yes.
But maintaining that his administration provided accurate data.
To be clear, all the deaths in the nursing homes and in the hospitals were always fully, publicly, and accurately reported.
Approximately 15,000 long-term care facility residents have died in New York. That's about a third of all COVID deaths statewide, according to the Department of Health. But until late last month, New York only accounted separately for people who died from COVID-19 in long-term care facilities like nursing homes. The data didn't include the number of residents from those facilities who died after they were transferred to a hospital or elsewhere.
I understand the public had many questions and concerns, and the press had many questions about nursing homes primarily. And I understand that they were not answered quickly enough.
The tipping point came during a private video call between the governor's top aide, Melissa DeRosa, and Democratic state lawmakers. DeRosa told the state lawmakers that the governor's office delayed giving updated information to them after then-President Trump's Department of Justice sent an inquiry about nursing home deaths in the state because, quote, basically we froze because then we were in a position where we weren't sure if what we were going to give to the Department of Justice or what we give to you guys, what we start saying, was going to be used against us. Her words an admission that the administration stalled on showing a true picture of just how many nursing home residents died, just as the governor was lauded globally for his pandemic response.
Between his Emmy for his coronavirus press briefings, to Governor Cuomo's book, to his speech at the Democratic National Convention, Governor Cuomo has been held up as the model governor in his coronavirus response, even though New York was so hard hit by the virus early on.
Cuomo arguing Monday, much the same as his top aide, that the request for data at the time was politically motivated and came amid many other competing priorities as the state was struggling to contain the virus.
There was a lot going on. Everybody was working 24 hours a day. Everybody was overwhelmed. We were in the midst of dealing with a pandemic and trying to save lives. They were answering DOJ.
But now he's taking heat from both sides of the New York legislature. You're only sorry that you all got caught, tweeted Democratic State Senator Alessandra Biaggi. Other Democrats are actively discussing drafting a bill to strip Cuomo of his emergency powers. And Republicans in the state going even further, declaring Cuomo should be investigated.
Athena, thank you. State Democrats say that bill, which would repeal Cuomo's emergency executive powers, will likely be introduced this week. If that happens, it could be voted on early next week. Of course, we'll continue to follow this for updates. Well, Pennsylvania State Police say the regional search for a missing 17-year-old girl has ended after she was located safely. An Amber Alert was issued overnight after police say the teen was abducted in North Tonawanda. 50-year-old Michael Mesko, the alleged suspect, was released from jail just 6 days ago on rape charges. At the time, police believed she was in imminent danger of serious harm or even death. It's not clear if the suspected abductor is in police custody. We'll, of course, continue to follow this story for updates and provide them at WNYNewsNow.com and on our mobile app. Well, more than 1 million people across the state of New York are now fully vaccinated against COVID-19. That's according to state leaders who announced the milestone yesterday, saying that the state's distribution sites have administered 91% of the total first doses received from the federal government. The state also reported that 85% of its first and second doses have been handed out. According to the latest local statistics, 2% of Chautauqua County residents have received both doses of the COVID-19 vaccine. Health officials report overall 9,800 people have received the first dose, 7.5% of the population, with 3,400 getting the second shot. The vaccination, Chautauqua County Public Health Director Christine Schuyler says, greatly reduces the chances of becoming infected. She says if the vaccinated person does become ill, the shot prevents serious complications from occurring.
Your body has already built up an immune response, so it helps you to fight off the COVID-19 infection so you don't get severely ill after you've been vaccinated.
Officials say New York's distribution network and large population of eligible individuals still far exceeds the supply coming from the federal government. Furthermore, the state, like many nationwide, continue to fight for more vaccine supply and better distribution coordination from the feds. Well, biotechnology company Novavax says it's testing a new version of its COVID-19 vaccine. Scientists are specifically targeting the coronavirus variant first identified in South Africa. Once lab testing is complete, the new vaccine could move to trials. But research is still in early phases. Meanwhile, the company says the U.S. trial for its original vaccine has reached full enrollment. In January, they announced early results from a Phase 3 trial in the UK, which showed an efficiency of 89%. Novavax says if everything stays on track here in the U.S., the vaccine could have emergency use authorization by summer. We thank you for joining us for WNY News Now as we get a check of some headlines that matter to you. Appreciate you tuning to us on this Tuesday afternoon, quite possibly the first day of the work week for some, although some maybe did get to work yesterday on President's Day. Great to see Sandy, good to see Bob, Todd, Shelley, Kate, Rosemary, Scott, Julie, Pam, and Jeff as well. Let us know what you think about these stories and more in the comments below, or simply say hi. Well, let's say hi now to Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter. Happy Tuesday to you, sir, who's standing by with a first look at our weather.
Happy Tuesday, Justin, and happy Tuesday to all of you. And boy, we had some snow last night and especially early this morning, but this is a live look over the Chautauqua Institution. The snow is pretty much stopped here at this location, but temperatures are actually going downhill today. Our high temperatures have already occurred today. We're going to slide all the way down into the upper teens by the end of the day today. 4.1 inches of snow in Dunkirk, 4 inches in Little Valley, also in Mayville, also in here in town, 3.1 Gary, 2 inches Falconer, and 1.5 in Randolph. The snow totals were less than what we expected, and we're going to talk more about this, why this ended up happening. But hey, you know what? I don't think we're going to complain. I mean, 4 inches of snow compared to 10 inches, I think we'll take that. And the radar shows you we actually have a few more snow showers coming in right now. This is going to continue through the afternoon in pockets. Additional accumulation, very light through the afternoon. The high yesterday was 27. Here in town today, the high was 32. We're down from that, 62 and 24 below zero are the record highs and lows. So through the afternoon, snow and sleet early, then back to scattered snow showers later in the day. An additional 1 to 2 inches of accumulation, if that. Temperatures fall 13 to 20. This is where we're ending the day by sunset today, and wind gusts still could be around 30 miles an hour. We'll squeak out a mainly dry day tomorrow. Then we're watching another storm system, which could bring more area-wide snow Thursday and Friday. We'll talk about it with that 42 degrees and sunny 7-day forecast later in the show. Justin?
All right, Dakota. Certainly, anytime we talk about a busted forecast, I think in this specific instance, people are grateful that we didn't get the snow
I know.
as forecast.
I mean, if you're going to bust a forecast, this is the better way to bust, I guess.
Yeah, certainly. And I know you'll talk about it later on, but that sleet
It's humility
overnight,
is what it is, Justin.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, I think, as you mentioned, or will be talking about, we talked about this morning, that sleet overnight, really what kind of changing things up. So I heard it on my roof last night, and I was just thankful I didn't come out to a foot of snow this morning.
I know.
So, nevertheless, thank you. Well, President Joe Biden is extending a ban on housing foreclosures to June 30th to help homeowners struggling during the pandemic. The moratorium on foreclosures of federally granted mortgages was set to expire March 31 on his first day in office. Biden extended that to January 31st. The Census Bureau figures show that almost 12% of homeowners with mortgages were late on their payments. The White House says the coordinated actions announced today also will extend to June 30th for the enrollment window for borrowers who want to request a mortgage payment for balances or a pause or reduction in payments, and will provide up to 6 additional months of forbearances for borrowers who entered that on or before June 30th of last year. The White House says more than 10 million people are currently behind on their payments in some type, and the actions today will help keep people in their home amid what they're calling an affordability crisis triggered by the pandemic. Well, the Biden White House is eager to put an ambitious agenda front and center. This after Saturday's impeachment vote closed out the Trump era on Capitol Hill. Biden will hit the road this week to make a push for his $1.9 trillion COVID relief plan, but he'll need help from Congress. Karen Kafa in Washington with a look ahead for us.
With the impeachment trial of former President Donald Trump ended,
and he is hereby acquitted of the charge.
Democrats eager to focus on President Joe Biden's agenda. First, his massive COVID relief proposal.
A lot of the current relief will expire in the middle of March, including the extended unemployment insurance benefits.
A number of House committees moved on portions of the legislation last week. Republicans arguing the $1.9 trillion plan is too much.
Republicans want to provide support where it's needed, but this package goes far beyond that scope.
In brushing off a $600 billion plan from a group of GOP senators, Biden showed little willingness to yield on scope or speed.
We had Republicans in the White House, Republican and Democratic mayors and governors in the White House last week, talking to them about the plan, many of which whom supported. So we're going to keep moving on in a bipartisan manner.
The White House facing pressure on a pledge to reopen schools within their first 100 days and concerns new coronavirus variants could thwart vaccine progress.
I would be very concerned, and my advice is to continue masking, to continue socially distance, and to avoid crowded environments. I mean, we have a few months to go, and we will be in a much better shape by this summer.
Biden hoping to keep COVID relief moving while eyeing other early priorities, including infrastructure and immigration. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
Karen, thank you. The president is on the road today in his first official trip. He'll make stops in Wisconsin to reinforce his agenda and hopes he can get his massive bill through a deeply divided Congress before those current benefits run out. Coming up next, a lot more to tell you about as tax season gets underway. We sit down with experts on who explained this year's changes. And a little bit later on, hear how a donation from one of our area's largest manufacturers is helping keep kids safe. Stay with us as WNY News Now continues.
With coverage that matters. This is WNY News Now.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you. Honest John's has what you're looking for. When you want it good, we're gonna give you lots more.
From freshly made subs to the best of pizza and wings, Honest John's has what you're looking for. And now 2 great locations, East 2nd Street and Fairmount Avenue. Order takeout or delivery today online at honestjohns.pizza.
You're gonna get it good at Honest John's.
Remember when you were a kid, huddled around the television waiting for your school to close? Well, we don't get snow days. When winter weather hits, count on the First Defense Weather Team for a look into the future where the snow is headed next. Live radar showing you the scope of the storm. And real-time reports from the field. So when it matters most, stay with First Defense Weather.
Catch your First Defense forecast daily on WNY News Now. You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
And welcome back to WNY News Now. A Chautauqua County resident is accused of driving while intoxicated following a crash on Valentine's Day. New York State Police say 21-year-old Dylan Slate of Silver Creek is charged with aggravated driving while intoxicated. Troopers say the man crashed his car on Waterboro Hill Road in Ellington Sunday. Police say after failing several standardized field sobriety tests, Slate was taken into custody. While at the State Police Barracks in Jamestown, police say he provided a breath sample of .19. He was then processed, issued tickets, and released. He's scheduled to appear in the Town of Ellington court later this month. The man, police say, was uninjured in that crash. Well, it's the first full week of tax season, and there are a few changes this year. The IRS says it's working to make sure you get your refund and any remaining stimulus payments quickly. In today's Consumer Watch, Mandy Gaither has 3 things you should know before you file.
How will the pandemic impact your taxes? For taxpayers hoping for deductions, credits, and COVID-19 relief on their 2020 contributions, experts say file early.
Last year was a big year and, they're just trying to gather all their documents. So I always say if you do have a business, make sure that from the beginning you're working with a professional.
If you didn't already receive COVID relief payments from the federal government, filing your taxes will be the best way to get that money if you're eligible. The IRS expects more than 150 million returns will be filed this year and recommends you file electronically. Experts also say it's important to know when to seek professional help.
I do believe that TurboTax or those other providers will suffice, and they are very easy and very cost effective. But as soon as you have a business, rental properties, seek professional advice.
Here's a look at 3 tax breaks you may be eligible for the first time due to COVID. 1, Congress has made changes to tax benefits like the Earned Income Tax Credit, and they've created new ones to give people and small business owners some pandemic relief. 2, small business owners who received a tax-free forgiven PPP loan may still deduct the business expenses they paid for with their money. And 3, if you're self-employed, you may be eligible to claim a new sick leave and family leave tax credit that was created by the family's first Coronavirus Response Act. For Consumer Watch, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Mandy, thank you. As of now, there is no indication the deadline for filing will be extended as it was last year amid the pandemic, so plan on filing by April 15th or requesting an extension. Well, McDonald's is bringing back one of its classics and getting an early jump on St. Patrick's Day celebrations. The Shamrock Shake is now available at participating locations. Customers can also enjoy the Oreo Shamrock McFlurry, which made its debut last year to mark the Green Minty Shake's 50th anniversary. The Shamrock Shake has been around since 1967 when the McDonald's owner in Connecticut came up with the idea. A couple of years later, sales of the Lucky Shake helped fund the first Ronald McDonald House in Philadelphia. Those are retreats where families and children facing cancer treatment can stay for free. Well, today is the last day of Relevé before Lent, but in 2021, Mardi Gras won't look like it usually does. Parties, parades, and pageantry are typically synonymous with Fat Tuesday in places like New Orleans. But this year, the Big Easy isn't going big. However, that doesn't mean you can't still celebrate. Don some beans or bake a traditional king cake, and if you plan to give something up for Lent, be sure to enjoy it today. Similar carnival celebrations date back to ancient Roman times, but it later morphed into part of the Christian festival leading into Lent. Now, across the world, Fat Tuesday is celebrated in many different ways, so 2021 might be the perfect year to stamp your virtual passport and learn more about Mardi Gras traditions. We thank you for joining us for WNY News Now on this Tuesday, which to me feels like a Monday, but I know Dakota was busy working from home yesterday following the storm developments. And we were talking over the weekend, Dakota, in our illustrious WNY News Now group chat. We have so much fun in that chat about, just the winter weather and how this was probably going to be one of the biggest storms that we would face. And not to say that this stretch of storm wasn't very impactful, because you look around the nation, places like Texas right now in the dark because of it. But they don't feel the freeze like we do. But, waking up this morning, it wasn't too bad outside, which probably came to a relief to some.
Yeah, and I mean, we talked about this during First Weather, about how if we're going to bust a forecast, this is probably the better way to bust it, when you overestimate something instead of underestimating. And, there's a whole lot of scientific explanations as to what happened with the storm. So let's talk about it. Let's take the graphics, and I wanted to explain to you what ended up happening here. So this is a dose of humility for all of us in the weather office and all of us in the weather enterprise, because what ended up happening was the storm track actually tracked further west than what we had expected. We thought the center of the storm was going to be further off to our east. That's what a lot of the models had shown, but it moved it further to the west. So that ultimately meant we had more sleet mixing in down across the southern tier. Now, if you watch the web weather video that we posted yesterday, we talked about how the biggest discrepancy was going to be that sleet line. Where was it going to be? Well, we were expecting it to be further across the state line in northwestern Pennsylvania. Well, it pulled up further to the north, and we also had dry air that wrapped into the back edge of the storm system. So if you looked at radar last night, you saw these breaks in the snow coverage. That was the drier air helping to get rid of some of the snow. So the bottom line is it resulted in less accumulation than what we had expected. So, I mean, this is the more scientific explanation, but the bottom line is it was a busted forecast. But hey, you know what? I think we'll take it. I mean, 4 inches of snow, we'll take that over 11 inches, which is what we had originally expected. So long explanation, but I had to make it. 22 here at the Jamestown airport with a north wind of 12 and the wind chill is down to 10. We're going to have a wind chill factor overnight tonight as temperatures continue to fall downhill. But hey, the snow resorts, but the ski resorts are loving the snow here. Peak and Peak 12 to 48 inches. Cockaigne up to 12 and 30. The Valley 24 to 64. 37 Hollymont. Mount Pleasant down there in Edinburgh 8 to 42. And the bases are all looking good. So head out to the ski resorts if you want to enjoy some of the snow that fell. The radar right now, we have a few snow showers continuing to come in again. There's a little snow shower right here around Jamestown. That's the shower you saw there on the camera. This is where the storm system has moved up to. It's now way up into Maine, moving up into Nova Scotia, up into Canada, and there's actually winter weather warnings up in Canada. They issued them up there, the Weather Service out there. But this is our next storm system that's coming Thursday and Friday. It's over New Mexico now. Another fast-moving storm system is going to come across Texas again, move up across the mid-Atlantic again, and actually throw us some more snow. And again, this is something we talked about last week. It's storm after storm following the jet stream. So Future Scan shows you a few more scattered snow showers through the afternoon. We'll lay down probably about another inch or two. That'll taper off later tonight. Tomorrow, we should squeak out a mainly dry day. We may actually see some peaks of sunshine as well through the day tomorrow. As we go into Thursday, here comes the presence of our next storm system. The actual track of this still TBA, so we can't throw out snow totals exactly yet because we're not sure, again, where this track is going to go. We think it's going to go further off to the East Coast, which means we will likely see more widespread accumulating snow. Check back tomorrow. We should have numbers for you on that. So zone forecast, this is where we're ending the day in the inland areas. We're going to drop down to the upper teens today. So temperatures, they're free fall fall, in the words of Tom Petty. How about the next 7 days coming up right now, brought to you by 42 Degrees and Sunny, 18. That's the best we'll be able to do, but at least the sun will make it look and feel a little warmer. 25 on Thursday, that's our next storm system. We could be dealing with more sleet again on Friday. Check back later tomorrow. We should have details on that. The weekend looking chilly with a few snow showers, and then by Monday, yeah, we're above freezing, 34 on Monday with a few snow showers. We'll take a break and be right back. First Defense Weather is sponsored by 42 Degrees and Sunny, smokin' deals on smoking accessories. Learn more at 42degreesandsunny.com. That's 42degreesandsunny.com.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor.
Testicular cancer is the leading form of cancer in men aged 15 to 35.
1 in 250 men will be diagnosed with testicular cancer.
But 98% will survive if detected early.
As a survivor, I believe early detection is the key. Learn how to do a testicular self-exam and other important facts about testicular cancer at oneball4tc.com.
There's an old saying, there's no news in the newsroom. Well, it's true. The time I spend at the anchor desk is just part of my day. Most of our time is spent gathering stories in the community, stories that matter to you. We can't do it alone, and we need your help. When you see breaking news or have a news tip we should know about, drop us a line on Facebook today, email our news desk, or call our newsroom at 488-7226 so we can bring those stories straight back to you.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news.
Well, finally here today, one of the area's largest manufacturers is giving back by donating personal protective equipment to schools, child care centers, and other children community organizations in the county. Patrick Smeraldo, he's the director of the Chautauqua Connections Children's Coalition, says that Cummings joined forces with homegrown organization Mask Maker of WNY to donate 21,000 face masks to organizations in Chautauqua County throughout the pandemic. Well, last week alone, the group donated another 3,500 masks and 34 cases of mini hand sanitizer. Items collected are distributed to various children and adults throughout the community. Now, since March, the two organizations have collaborated with the county executive to help those most in need. Certainly all times of the year, and I think this pandemic shows us the most why this community is so amazing, because it brings so many people together. And it's great to see. And we always try to give shout outs to those. So certainly we appreciate the coalition for reaching out to us and letting us know about the donations of so many businesses. And when you look at it, Dakota, I think that's what brings us all together. We've been through so much in the last year, but at the end of the day, I think truly a lot of people just want to come together and help in the way they can.
Yeah, and I mean, the one thing that, I think is going to come out of this, at least that I hope is going to come out of this, is that we're going to go back to the way we were, I'd say, several years ago, maybe even longer than that, where we're going to be more, I think, connected with each other. And I think that this pandemic has taught us that we should value kind of the things that we might take for granted. And whether that be, our friendships, anything to do with our family, relationships, I think we should value that more. And, I think the pandemic has taught us that, because now, we've all been stuck inside with each other. So it's like, we had to tolerate each other. But also at the same time, for the things that we didn't get to do last year, we need to take that for granted and realize that's something that we have that was taken away because of this pandemic, and we should feel more grateful that we have that. It's
Totally
like,
agree.
Yeah, I mean, it's like for me, one of the things I do every year is I try to go to concerts every year.
Right.
And I didn't
Can't
get a
have
chance to do
concerts.
that last year. And, every year when we go to concerts, it's like, okay, we're going to another concert. But I think, you know, if we go to concerts this year, I think we're going to be more grateful to it. I think we're going to enjoy the experience, because the one thing that I have a problem of doing, and it's something I've been weaning myself off of, is when you go to concerts or sporting events or even looking at the sunrise or the sunset, you want to take your phone out and take pictures.
And you're looking at it through your phone.
Yeah, and then
put it away.
Yeah, and then it comes to the object of, well, you know, where am I going to post it? Put the phone down and enjoy it. Because I used to be that way at concerts. I used to have the big camera around my neck, snapping pictures.
And you can take photos and videos, absolutely. But you're right. A lot of people live events through their phone, and it's almost, you saw this with the Olympics a few years ago in London, all the athletes carrying around and looking through their phone. And it's like, maybe you should just put it down for a second and try to enjoy the life and the experience. So certainly, I agree. I think maybe that's one thing people will look towards going forward, is giving back, and I think just being kinder to one another as well. Well, that's going to do it for us today. News 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com. Dakota and I are back tomorrow live here at noon. Hope to see you then.